This is the first exercise that we're going to go through. It's a very straightforward exercise where all we're going to do is to sign into the Power Apps Studio. We're actually going to create a new app. We're going to do some small edits on the app, which is renaming the screen and adding a header, and then we're going to save out of the app. As you can see in my browser, I am in office.com and I've gone down to the left hand side to give me all of the apps that are available to me. I can then navigate to Power Apps, and if I click on that, that will take me through to the Power Apps Studio. You can also go to the same place by going to make.powerapps.com. As you can see on the top right hand side, it indicates the various environments that we have available to us. Now, in order for us to be able to navigate to our development environment, we'll need to select the environment. And then in my case, I'm actually going to go down to Rory Neary's environment. So your development environment will actually be prefixed with your name. So it's usually quite easy to find. And if you did have other environments available to you, you would see them in the list on the right hand side. So I'm just going to select that. So now I'm inside that environment and I now would like to create an app. The next thing we're going to do is select Canvas app from blank. Now we could actually go down to create and we would get similar options here, get to create Canvas app from blank there as well. We're actually going to select on this, then we get two choices. We can do a tablet app or a phone app, and that will change the shape of the app. We're going to do a tablet app and we are going to call it a device ordering app. And click create. Then what we'll do is we'll go onto the screen and we'll click the three dots and then rename, and we're going to call this main screen. And we could have done that up on the top on the right hand side as well. We're now going to start adding the objects onto our screen. So what we can do is we can take a look at our layers here. We can actually hit the plus icon to add the text label and drag that onto the screen here. Another way of getting an object onto the screen is go to the insert and then clicking the object that you require, but you can't actually drag and drop it from the menu at the top. So we have our text label here, and we're actually going to rename that to be our header label. Now, if we look on the left-hand side, we can expand this tree view, and we can hit the three dots again, or we could just rename it and call it header label. Now, as you can see on here, the text that is in here just says text, and we actually want to call it device ordering app. There are lots of places where you can actually change the text. So you can actually do it on the right hand side here as well. But notice on the right hand side, you don't need to put the quote marks around it. We're now going to make this fill the whole of the screen. And then what we'll do is we will center the text. Now what we'll do is we'll actually change the fill for this. So if we go to home, then we can go onto the fill properties and we can actually pick a color that's suitable for us. Now what you'll notice here is that the text isn't as visible as it was before. So what we can do is we can go on to the font, and we can actually select the color that we need. And in this case, we're going to choose a white font. The text size is still a little bit small, so we're actually going to raise that to 24. There are different ways of doing this. So if you actually go out here and click on 24, that will do it. But also you can actually see it's the size property. And I would invite you to investigate the properties that you can see on the left hand side. You can see that it's actually in bold, the things that we've made a change to. and we've actually made a change to the height as well from what the defaults were, and all these things are actually available in the properties on the right hand side, or indeed on the left hand side. What we're now going to do is to create a username label for ourselves. So what we can do there is hit the plus on the left hand side, and we can drag that text label across, but we could also go onto the insert and then just click label here, or just go to text and then label and then add that in. But notice the second time we brought it in, it just appeared onto any location on the screen. So we'll move that across to the right hand side, but this time we're actually going to do something a little bit more special with the formula for the text. And this time it's going to read hello, comma, space, quote, and we do ampersand because we want to add something else. And now we're going to use the user function. So we'll say user, open brackets, close brackets, because there's no parameters for that function, and then we can say full name, and then it will bring in my name. So it'll have to go back to the service in order to get that. And what we'll see here is actually we still want to do some formatting here. So what we'll do on this is we're going to align it right. We can also change the color to white. So color in this case, fill is the background and color is the color of the font. And so what we can do is we can go to home and we can change that to the white color, and then we can make some other changes. What we're going to do is we're actually going to widen this so that it can take a longer username. And we're also going to do what might seem like a slightly odd looking thing. We're actually going to do this concept of padding. So on the bottom right hand side there, it's saying padding, and essentially you should just push it out to the left hand side, because we're going to pad from the we're going to add more onto the right hand side. So you just saw it shift across then. Now, as a pro tip, what you actually can do is you can actually bring an image in. At this point, we will work with images later on, but what you can actually go is insert and then media, image, and then it's going to wonder what that image is going to be. But what we can actually do is we can go onto the image and we can actually say user, open brackets, close brackets, dot, and image will be available to us. And if you have set an image for yourself within the system, then your image will come up for you. Now, before we save the application, we can save it with errors. We can actually check for errors. Now, as we saw, the image was fine in terms of how it had been written, but it could have had an error on it. So notice the red line underneath the words there, and also notice on the top right hand side you can actually see the errors that exist within this app. So if you actually hit the drop down there, you can actually see where it is, and if we had more than one screen, it would actually navigate us to where the issue actually was. And so you can see that we have an issue with the image. We can click on the E and then that will correct the error. We can see we've got no errors left anymore. And so now what we're going to do is to save the app. So we go to File, and then we go to Save, and it's going to be called Device Ordering App, and we'll click Save on that. Now there are some edits that you can make within this area. You can go to the settings here and you can actually change the icon that you might want to have. So there are some options there. So you can actually add an image of your own. So instead of it being the pencil icon, it might be something different. And you can actually see the fill in the background. You can actually change the color if you wish to. And that makes a bit of a difference when you're opening your app. There's not a huge impact. The icon is quite useful. That takes us to the end of this session. We first of all signed into the studio. We then created the new application. We renamed the screen. We added the header. We also added something for the username. And then finally, we saved the application after having had a look at the settings. I'll see you in the next lesson.